If you're an engineer and you are currently earning six figures, but you still feel like you're broke, in this video today, I'm going to be sharing with you why that is. Over the past 8 years, I've been working as an engineer, and I still remember like it was yesterday when I got my very first offer. Now, my very first offer for an engineering job coming out of college was $65,000. Now, for many people, that doesn't seem like a lot, especially for engineering, but you have to start somewhere. And for me, I was super excited to get started with that $65,000. And one of the reasons why I was so excited about getting started with that $65,000 is because during my time in school, I was working 3 jobs. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, like, you were working 3 jobs in school? Yes, I was working 3 part-time jobs. Now, those 3 jobs were, one, I worked at the college facility, where basically a college event center. And basically, this is where they would host basketball games. This is where they will host concerts and convocations and things like that for school. So I was working there. I also cleaned buildings. Basically, I would go to the building of transportation and we would go and pick up the trash 5 days a week. And we would clean the carpets, clean the bathrooms, things like that. The last job that I had was stocking at a grocery store. So I would get up 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, go stock the store and go to class. Now, with all 3 of these combined, I was averaging about $35,000 a year with all 3 of those. So the reason why I was so excited when I got my first engineering job earning $65,000 is because I was like, man, look, I'm earning $65,000 and I got one job. One job. So I have more free time. I'm going to be earning more money. And for a period of time, I was earning a lot, of course, earning a lot more. But then I said, look, maybe if I get to 6 figures, if I get to $100,000, I will be set. And so I started to work, started to move up in the ranks, switch companies, different things like that. And I eventually got to $100,000. Now, when I got to this $100,000, I was just like, man, I have made it. And when I got to that $100,000 and I was like, man, I've made it, what I didn't realize is, which is probably what you don't realize, is the fact that when you get to this $100,000, you're not really making $100,000. Now, you may be sitting there thinking, Matthew, what is it that you mean? And this is the first lesson that I had to learn, and that is what you earn on paper is not what is hitting your bank account. So this right here is called gross income, which means overall, this is about how much you earn. So on paper, we call that gross. On paper, gross, all right? So on paper, you earn $100,000. So for me, I was like, great, I earned $100,000. I'm the man now. But in reality, I wasn't. Why? Because there was somebody else that was taking money out of this. Now, the first person that takes money out of this is the government. And let's just say that, hey, look, you're earning $100,000 on paper, which means you're going to be in a higher tax bracket, which means that going from $65,000, where I may have been in like a 15% tax bracket, now I'm earning $100,000 on paper gross. So now I'm in a 25% tax bracket. And we're just going to say 25. It's going to vary a little bit, somewhere between 22 and 25. But I'm going to just use 25 for easy math for right now. But if that is the case, that basically means that I'm not earning $100,000 because $25,000 is coming out of my check, all right, throughout the entire year. So what am I really earning throughout the year? Throughout the year, I'm actually earning $75,000. And this is the first mistake that I had to really learn about, and really the biggest lesson I had to learn, which is about taxes. All right, taxes. Now, what are the different types of taxes that are out there? Well, the first tax that we have is we have the federal tax. With the federal tax, that's something that everybody just pays if you have a job. And when you are paying your federal taxes, obviously that's going to lower the amount of money you're bringing in. The second thing is you have state taxes. All right. With your state taxes, that's going to be money that you're paying to the state for living there. Next, we're going to have Medicare. Then we got Social Security. And then you also have your 401k contributions. Now, with all of these different things, what is that doing? That is taking money out of your what's called net income. So even though on paper, your company, they say, hey, we're going to give you a raise. We're going to give you $100,000. Well, 25,000 is going to come out with taxes, and then you have other things. So you may be sitting around maybe $70,000. So the first thing is you have to always consider the taxes. Now, after you consider the taxes, what is the next thing you have to think about? Well, this one was really big for me because since I didn't understand taxes, this really put me in a hole, and that is the lifestyle creep. All right. If you don't understand that you are paying taxes, you got your 401k contribution, you have Medicare, you have your state taxes, you are going to be in for a world of hurt. And I know I was, because I was basing my life off of earning $100,000. One of the scariest things that I have found is when you get ready to go buy a car, when you get ready to get an apartment, when you get ready to even go buy a house, is that these companies, these banks, these lenders, what they do is they focus mainly on what is your gross income. And if they're focusing on your gross income, that automatically puts you in a deficit because of the fact that they're approving you based off of you earning $100,000. But reality, you should really be getting approved based off of this. And when that lifestyle starts to creep, maybe you go buy a new car. Maybe instead of getting a car where your car note is $350 to maybe $400 per month or $450 per month, now you are getting a car that is $600 to $700 per month, and your insurance is going to be up. Why? Because of the lifestyle creep. And so many people in the middle class, and I'm guilty of this too, we focus on making it look like we have the money. When in reality, the people that are really rich and that are wealthy, they don't look like they have the money. And, buying, for me, I was buying J's. I was going out to eat to expensive restaurants 2-3 times a week, going out with the fellas, going out with coworkers, doing all this stuff. And then bills come due. And now I'm sitting here living paycheck to paycheck. And that might be you right now. And I want to encourage you that it is not the end of the world. Okay. You watching this video and you becoming aware of the fact that you are living check to check and you are trying to make a difference and you're looking for a way to make a difference in your life. I want to give kudos to you because not many people are doing this. So now that you understand, okay, I got my gross income, I got my net income, most of my money is being taken out from taxes and Medicare and all this stuff. But then also I got my lifestyle creep. I'm living like I'm earning 100,000, but I'm really earning 75,000. How do I get out of this? That is a great question. So the way that you get out of this, which there are many different ways. However, this is the way that I found that works best. And originally when I first started and I was like, man, I need to make more money. And making more money is not the problem. It wasn't the problem. What you have to do is you have to start managing your money. Now, I want you to understand, and I know I spelled this wrong, all right? I'm an engineering major, not a speller, all right? So, not an English major. So, managing money. Now, what exactly does that look like? Managing is not budgeting. First, let's get that clear. Managing is not budgeting. What managing means is that means, let's say we have this income coming in. All right. You got this income coming in. And let's say that it's $100. So you have this $100 coming in. Managing is saying, okay, I'm going to take part of this $100 and I'm going to put it here. I'm going to take another part of this $100. I'm going to move it there. I'm going to take another part of the 100, move it there. I'm going to take another part of the 100 and move it here. And that is what managing your money looks like. So you might put, $25 in each one of these buckets. Now, when you do that, now when it comes to budgeting, now budgeting is saying, okay, now I got these things that I'm going to pay. Let's say that this is living expenses. All right. You say, okay, I'm going to pay this much in rent. I'm going to pay this much in subscriptions. So subs. And this is like Netflix, different things like that. Let's say you're going to pay this much for food. And then let's say that this is for health. So you got your gym membership. Let's say you got a trainer. And then if we go over here, let's say that you have fun, you having fun, travel. So this is what budgeting looks like. You have this amount of money that you managed. You got this payment. You're managing it. You're putting a certain amount in certain areas. And this is how much you have to work with. This is how you're going to be able to get out of the rut. Now, for me personally, here's what I did. And it was very uncomfortable. However, it helped me fast track where I'm going. The first thing is I stopped leaving my money in the bank. Now, I didn't necessarily have anywhere else to put the money. So I would go withdraw the money. I would have the money on hand, cash. And the reason why I did this is because I was sick and tired of, I would say I would manage my money. I'm gonna manage my money. I'm gonna manage my money. And every time I would say I was going to manage my money, I would leave it in the bank, hoping that everything was good. And because I had subscriptions that I forgot about, those subscriptions would come out. It might have been a subscription from 2 years ago and I forgot about it, or a year ago and I forgot about it. And now it comes and it takes out $300 or it takes out $500 or whatever. So you have to start thinking about that. What are the subscriptions that you have? And that was the reason why I took my money out the bank. Then I would say, okay, I'm going to go and I'm going to cancel this subscription. I don't need that. I don't need Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Apple TV, BET Plus. I don't need all that stuff. Just give me one or two of them at the max, and then I'm going to be good. Now, once you start to do that, and it's going to take a little bit of time. For me, it took about 3 months of me doing that for me to really get a hold of my finances. But once I started doing that, now I said, okay, what is the next step that I can work on? And we'll talk about this in another video, but that's when I went and I started looking at my credit report. I started looking at, okay, how much am I putting in my 401k? How much am I paying in fees for my 401k? And really started to optimize my financial well-being. And that is what's going to help you get to the point of being able to have success financially, especially earning $100,000 a year. If you are earning $100,000 per year, you are in a great position because you are above what the average income is. You just have to learn how to manage your money. That's not to say that you can't have fun. That's not to say that you can't go out there and do it or do different things that you want to do. However, you just have to be more strategic with what it is that you're doing. So I hope that you were able to get some value from this video, and I will catch you in the next one.